That was 3 weeks ago, and for all of us that crave news, right, waiting for Kevin Durant to get traded is like waiting for the 6 car to come. You know the subway's coming, but you just don't know when, and it's hot, and it smells, and that's what I feel like now. Brian, that metaphor went way off the rails. I want to start with you here. What is going on in Brooklyn?
Well, my phone is no longer exploding, Malika. It has gone quite quiet on this front.
I can text you.
One of my favorite pieces of information that Woj gave us in those first hours was that calls were coming back to up offers to Brooklyn even before they had gotten a response from the Nets to reject the offer. But the truth is, we truly have a one-of-a-kind situation on the trade market. Durant's price is so high that nobody can afford to pay it. Because if you execute a trade that makes your team weaker, then the point of you even calling to acquire Kevin Durant is failed. So here we have something that's extremely valuable that nobody wants to buy at its price. So when that happens, 2 things usually happen in the market, in the supply and demand world. One is the price either gets lowered, or 2, it comes off the market. And so right now, what we have is everybody waiting for the price to get lowered as the Nets mull taking it off the market. And as of right now, as I put my ear to the ground in the NBA, I'm not hearing anything changing as far as the demand phase of this process.
So Legs, you've lived the NBA life. Is there any urgency to get this deal done before the season starts in your estimation?
I really don't think there is. Actually, there might be more risk for the Nets, to be honest with you, because they might make the wrong deal. And that's what Brian's alluding to. This is so complicated and so tricky because the player we're talking about, and the Nets still have him under contract. So there is that possibility that he and Kyrie come back, they don't make any moves, and they start playing, and they get hot out of the gate. And who knows how they feel about the situation then. And then maybe Sean Marks is thinking that might be in their best interest to do it because the market won't change for Kevin Durant. In other words, it won't become a buyer's market the closer you get to the trading deadline. Teams are going to still go all in whenever that time comes and somebody's going to pull the trigger on that trade. They're going all in, whether it's now, whether it's right before the season, or whether it's in February. It doesn't matter. So there's more risk to make a bad deal now. Get back the haul that you have to get for this guy because it's the one chance you'll ever trade a player of this caliber.
Sean Marks is such a smart basketball mind, a smart roster constructor. It doesn't seem like he knows he doesn't need to be in any rush to make this deal. Brian Windhorst, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA Today. Tim, please don't go too far because still to come, plenty of Simpson is one of 3 notable moves the Knicks have made this offseason. They also signed center Isaiah Hartenstein from the Clippers, and then they re-signed their own center, that's Mitchell Robinson, to a 4-year deal. And Brunson's old team, the Mavericks, they traded for Christian Wood, and they also signed JaVale McGee. So how fun is this? We have my pal and yours. It's Tim Bontemps and everyone's favorite Dallas-based NBA reporter, Tim McMahon, here to talk a little bit about Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. So Timmy B, I'm going to start with you. You're in New York. What will Brunson's role be with the Knicks?
Well, Malika, it would have been nice to ask Jalen Brunson about that this week when the Knicks decided to have a press conference with no media involved. But look, the Knicks have been waiting to find a point guard to be their franchise leader really for decades now, right? We've seen a revolving door at this position. Let's go back to last summer when they had a press conference where Kemba Walker is the latest guy that they hope would be the guy that would be their leader at the floor general spot and really be kind of the coach on the floor for this team. And I think, you know, when you look at Jalen Brunson being in Dallas with Luka Doncic, where he's playing off the ball sometimes, being sort of that secondary creator, I think in him coming to New York, a big appeal to him was that getting the chance to be the guy with the Knicks. Now, as we'll talk in a little bit, maybe down the road here, he'll have a fellow backcourt mate that will take away some of that ball handling responsibilities from him. But either way, with the contract they gave him, with the pursuit that they clearly went out to get Jalen Brunson over the past several months, it is clear he is going to be a critical piece for what they're doing going forward. And I think it gives them a chance to have some real stability at the point guard spot for the first time in a very, very long time.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that spot be something that rotates for them. To Dallas now, Tim McMahon, what is the Mavs' top priority for just sort of the rest of the offseason to replace Jalen's production for them?
Well, obviously, they're going to continue to explore opportunities in the trade market, but they feel like with the return of Tim Hardaway Jr., who missed the second half of last season, all of the playoffs, that really kind of fills the scoring void. Spencer Dinwiddie steps into the starting lineup, and then they did trade for Christian Wood. Obviously, he's not a guard, but he provides a scoring threat, a shooter kind of a little bit of playmaking in the front court that they did not have before. So while Brunson was a top priority, trying to keep him, they weren't able to do that. They do feel like they can replace the offensive punch with the moves that they've already made and just the return of from injury by Tim Hardaway Jr.
Interesting. Okay, so Bontemps, you alluded to this, but a player that isn't a Knick right now is Donovan Mitchell. But New York and Utah, they have been linked to a deal that could happen in the future. It hasn't happened yet, or that story would be a lot higher in the show. But why is it important to both teams, Bontemps, to get a deal done sooner rather than later?
Well, as you said, Malika, not right now is the key phrase there, because clearly there's a lot of motivation on the Knicks side in particular, I think, to get this done. And let's just look at the Knicks point guard position, like I was just talking about. The last time the Knicks had an all-star point guard was Mark Jackson back in 1989. The last time they had an all-star guard was Allen Houston 20 years ago. So this is a franchise that has been waiting to get a star guard to build around for a very long time. And look, since Leon Rose got to the Knicks a couple of years ago to run the basketball operations department, the goal for this team has been to get star players. Leon Rose represented a ton of stars at CAA, guys like Donovan Mitchell. They went out and got a bunch of draft picks that could get them a guy like Donovan Mitchell. They signed contracts they could trade later to get a guy like Donovan Mitchell, and even went to Utah and signed Johnny Bryant to be on Tom Thibodeau's staff assistant coach. He was Donovan Mitchell's workout guy with the Utah Jazz. So you put all that together, Donovan Mitchell clearly seems to me to be a guy they need to get. And it also is a guy that gets them in the door, having a first star in the door, something they've been able to do in a long time. You can't get more stars till you get one. Donovan Mitchell might not get the Knicks in the playoffs or to the championship contention they want to be, but he'd give them a chance to build around somebody, which they haven't had the ability to do in several years.
Right. McMahon, you cover Utah for us as well. How are they viewing all of this?
Well, certainly time is on the Jazz's side in the sense that Donovan Mitchell does have 3 years plus a player option remaining on his contract. But let's be honest, the Jazz don't want 34-year-old first-time head coach Will Hardy to go into training camp and have the Donovan Mitchell saga, the Donovan Mitchell drama, dominate the storyline on a day-to-day basis. We saw that happen with Stephen Silas in Houston when James Harden was forcing his way out. And it's a different situation. Donovan is not forcing his way out. But I think we all understand that Donovan Mitchell's strong preference would be to go ahead and get traded to New York. We've seen this train coming down the track for quite some time now. And, from the Jazz's perspective, they need to be able to turn the page sooner than later and commit full-blown to that rebuilding project. But we also understand Danny Ainge does not take discounts in trades. And that's going to be the priority, getting that maximum price for their proven all-star guard.
Stephen Silas, by the way, he handled that entire situation admirably. All right, enough basketball, though. I want to do something that I think it's fun. I don't know if you guys are going to think it's fun. Bringing in another Tim. How many times do we have this many Tims on the show? So how about a little bit of, it's a little corny, it's a little cheesy, but I'm a little corny and a little cheesy. So a little bit of Tim trivia here. Just shout out the answer if you got it. How many Tims are in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame?
Whew. I'm going to say none.
I'm going to guess 3.
2. Duncan.
I'm
Hardaway.
going to say 5. I'll go over and say 5.
2. Duncan and Hardaway.
Legler got it wrong even when he knew the answer.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Come on, Legs. Legs is struggling today.
Oh my goodness.
All right, this Tim is a part owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. Who is this Tim?
Justin Timberlake.
I was going to say, that's the only one I could think of. There you go.
Timberlake.
Good job, McMahon.
All right, this Tim made a three-pointer to force overtime in the 2006 playoffs. It was against the Lakers. Tim's team
Tim
eventually
Duncan?
completed a 3-1 comeback.
Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Good
Right, that's a good answer.
I love it. All right, this Tim
Very good.
won the 2011 Conn Smythe Trophy for the Stanley Cup Playoffs MVP. Who is this Tim?
I can't name a single
hockey?
concept.
Well, that's also Tim Thomas.
Ding, ding, ding! He got it! It's another Tim Thomas. The Bruins.
also
What an
Tim
athlete
right.
playing 2 winter sports at once.
Well, guess what I'm about to guess? I'm about to say Tim Thomas, no matter what this question
Yeah, see, there you go. Tim, you got to be faster with these answers, baby. All right, this Tim won the 2004 Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal of somebody in the movie Mystic River. Who is this Tim?
Tim Cruise.
Timothy Hutton.
Tim Robbins.
I was going to say Timothy Chalamet, but I knew that was wrong. I was going to say it as a joke.
I struggle with that, the name, the whole, yeah, it's bad. All right. Who was the first Tim to win the Heisman Trophy?
Tim Tebow.
First
Tim Tebow.
Tim. The first Tim.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, Tim Tebow won in 2007. Timmy Brown won.
Timmy Brown.
1987.
Dallas guy. I
All
should have
right,
gotten that.
this one get creative once again. This Tim has won 4 Grammys, is a 3-time winner of the Songwriter of the Year award. Who is this Tim?
Can I go back to Justin
Tim Burton.
Timberlake?
I was going to say Justin Timberlake
It's
again.
bad. Timbaland.
No shot.
Told you. This is bad.
rough.
Gentlemen, thank you for at least
The opening days of July. But according to Lakers beat writer Dave McMenamin, the team has something bigger in mind than getting Hield or Gordon merely as a consolation prize of sorts. Via Silver Screen and Roll says they have interest in Eric Gordon and Buddy Hield, perhaps in addition to Kyrie, and the piece that would have to be moved in order to get that done would be Talon Horton-Tucker, McMenamin said while on The Low Post, a podcast hosted by Zach Lowe of ESPN. But, it could also end up being the plan B if they can't get this Kyrie situation to come to bear. Lakers fans have fixated on Hield ever since the team turned down an opportunity to trade for him last summer to land Russell Westbrook instead. The 6'4" guard would significantly improve LA's three-point shooting, an area that needs lots of improvement. However, Hield's numbers went down this past season. He shot 36.6% from three-point range, compared to 39.1% the year prior. Gordon has always been an instant offense man throughout his 14 NBA seasons, but his efficiency has fluctuated from season to season. While he shot an outstanding 41.2% from downtown in the 2021-22 campaign, he was at just 32.9% the year before. McMenamin then went on to discuss the Nets and the belief held by some that Kevin Durant's trade request had more to do with getting Irving out of Brooklyn than parting ways with the franchise itself. Setting aside the potential of a 5,000 IQ move by KD and the Nets, the Lakers' aspect of this is interesting. On paper, manifesting both plans seems plausible, but only if the Lakers insist on not including Talon Horton-Tucker in the trade to land Irving, as that would be the big chip needed to trade for Buddy or Gordon. One of those certainly seems more attainable than the other, especially given the outgoing package. Financially,